What is up, my dudes? It is your boy Deuces, and we are back for the second episode of the Riddim from Scratch series that is also a follow-along series. So if you want, you can go down in the description and snag the stems to this episode, so that way you can follow along, drag and drop You can drag and drop them right into your DAW, and you can follow along. Today we're going to be going over the build-up and the drop. Now, I do have some news. So I jumped a little bit of ahead and I worked a little bit on sound design. It ended up coming out a little bit harder than I intended. So I might end up making this series a Riddim slash tear out tutorial series follow along thing. Either way, I'm stoked on it. I'm loving how it's turning out. So let's get into it. What's up, guys? So we are now here in the DAW, and first things first, we gotta talk sound design. So, your boy went crazy. So I went a little nuts, but I finally settled on something along the lines of this. So like I said, it came out a little bit harder than I originally intended, but I love it. So as far as the buildup is concerned, it basically is just like a copy and paste from the verse, and then we just add, a few more things. I added my distorted kick loop, a clap loop. We took the horn from the verse. And then one thing I love to do is, for my build-up effects, I like using like the same sounds, so that way all my tracks are similar. This is one of those things that I may or may not put in the description, just because it's kind of like my own kind of build-up. And you know what? I'll put it in the description. I always give you guys everything. And then, we just took the melody thing that we had going, and then added a little thing here. And I think that's about it. Yeah, that's about it. Other than, some kick going on, some kick action. And then, our kick right at the end there. And typically a build-up for almost every genre is going to be 8 measures long, with 7 measures being your actual build, and then 1 measure or 1 bar of your pre-drop vocal. Let's hear this all together now. The only thing I'd say that I really changed too is the horn. I brought it over here, I warped it, then cut it in half with this thing right here, and then put on Complex Pro so that way it doesn't sound all warped and weird. And then, just a swell too, just to kind of bring it all together. But now the biggest thing for me is I don't like that ring out. I don't like that. So what I typically do is I will grab both of these, group them, turn it down by -5. So what I'll do is I'll make another audio track, Control T, and then I will literally just resample. All right, now that's done. We can go ahead and consolidate this by hitting Control J or right click and consolidate. We're gonna go ahead and bring this back up. So we're gonna do some quick maths, and we're gonna go back up to -4.47. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come over here to where this is at, and then I am going to detune this. Turn on Complex Pro, turn the envelope down, Then I'm going to transpose it down. So now that we added that, I'm also going to come in here and grab a redux, and I'm going to turn this on ever so slightly towards the end here. Actually, I'm going to have it kind of go like this. I'm going to hold Alt to where I can get a nice curve. So the only thing we need is a pre-drop vocal. No, that's not going to work.
Boofing Riddim is inserting obnoxious 140 BPM Riddim right into someone's ass.
You're not wrong. Alright boys, I found the perfect vocal.
Baba Booey.
That'll do. Alright, so believe it or not, basically in a nutshell, I usually start with something extremely basic. So if you take a look at this, there's no filter here. There's literally just compressor, EQ, a little bit of FM from B, you know, random is down, so there's no random phasing. The phase is right in the middle, -3, 0, you know, FM from B, it's just trash. And I throw it through the processing. Right, so that's just, you know, a vocodec, EQ8, which is doing absolutely nothing. And then a serum effects with a combs, which kind of have to fine tune that a little bit. Then a little bit of hyper dimension to make it nice and wide. And then echo, which is giving it like a nice little slappy effect, along with the combs. Then OTT saturator, which if you guys don't know how I run my OTT, it's basically, you know, no low end, and then the time is all the way up to 1,000, and then I go half for the amount, and then I put a 5 for the output. And I do that twice, so that way it cleans up the sound nicely. Then I resampled that, and here it is. Right. Then I decided to go ahead, go crazy with it again, which is a serum effects with a flange minus filter, which again, you kind of have to fine tune, and then a comb plus filter, which is also a very pitchy filter, which again, needs to be fine tuned. And then another serum effects with a combs to make it nice and slappy again. And then rounded it out with one more OTT, another saturator, that should turn the color off, and then an EQ8 because there was some weird stuff going on in the mids, and then a G clip at the end, giving it some more boost. And then that turned into me bringing it over here and then adding another vocoder and a serum effects. And then here's how this sounds. That's with the vocoder doing a lot of the work. Without it. So as you can tell, I did quite a bit of EQ work. I cut out a couple things that were just really sharp. And honestly, I'm just gonna pretty much default this vocoder back to my normal settings that I typically use, so that way you guys can kind of hear it just normally. And then I just changed the black and white and the bands, which basically starts adding some weird chord elements, if you're familiar with vocoder. And then I snagged this main bass that I made a while ago just as like a supporting layer. Pretty nice and fat, processing. Nice and wide, chunky. And then that is how we got this. So that's just another supporting layer. And then also our next supporting layer / main is another bass that I created in a different project. But I did go ahead and just kind of add it in and do some fades and basically just follow the flow. We kind of have the main idea down, and we can start messing with flows, which will probably be in the next video, so that way we can, you know, I can go ahead and explain the entire thing of flows and all the different types of flows and things you can do. But then we add the sub, which... The sub really hones in the sound when you start adding all of these layers together. It is worth mentioning that I did end up grabbing the layer, the all layer that kind of fills the space, and brought it over here to fill in the drop, because without it, it's a little dry. It's a little dry. But with it, really fills in the space. And then as far as drums are concerned, you're going to see that it looks like everything's duplicated, right? No. So, on this first drum rack, I ended up muting the kick 4. We have pretty much just all of our percussion and clap. And then down here, I have the kick soloed, and then I'm using a drum bus just to really make that kick nice and fat. And then we added a under snare, which goes very nicely with the clap. Just kind of round that out a little bit more. Give it a little bit of a lower punch to it. And I did EQ the heck out of that too, because without it, sounded like crap. And then I add a nice little ride. Bada bing, bada boom, baba booey. Alright, so that is it for today's video, guys. I'm sorry it was like so much information just packed in there, and I just really tried to get through it all just because there was a lot to go over. And for today, I'm only going to be giving the stems for the drop, so that way you guys can kind of start messing around with it, start piecing it all together, and of course I'll also give you the pre-drop vocal and whatnot, and I think we might have added something with the build-up too, so I will definitely be dropping those in. But other than that, in the next video we'll be going over a fake out, how to make them, and how to work on some flows. Also, if you haven't already peeped it, you should go check out wearedeuces.com. It is my new website. We have merch, we got some hoodies, we got some pins, we got some stickers. I have my new sample pack on there, which you should totally go and snag. So please make sure to go check that out. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next one. Deuces.